We're going to move on to another title contender, or are they? Aston Villa 4, Nottingham Forest 2 is the next result. I only say that because Villa are, I mean, you mentioned it almost flippantly last week, Myles, about Villa still being in the title conversation. I don't know how serious you were, but they're 8 points away from the top, which but every other season is still in contention, right? And we kind of dismiss that as being too big a gap to bridge. But they're now 8 point cushion between them and Manchester United as well, after results didn't go United's way. So surely, obviously, the top four is the priority, and securing that, this is a huge leap towards that, isn't it?
I just have to say, I'm not sure you can say results didn't go United's way when you mean United lost.
They were humbled once more, yeah.
It's very much in their hands. Top four is definitely the priority still, and it has to be top four at the moment as well, because Arsenal did Villa dirty this week by losing to Porto and knocking us down in the coefficient for the fifth place. But fantastic to see the win, and particularly when we've seen a couple of games this season where Villa have taken bigger leads, let another team back in, and looked really rattled. So, for first 30 minutes, Villa embarrassed Forest. They were terrible, Forest. They just picked them apart, and it looked like it could be an absolute demolition, a bit similar to the Brighton game earlier in the season. The fact that they got those 2 goals, one either side at half time, so quickly and got themselves back into the game, I was worried, because I've seen Villa do that with United this season, where they take a lead, throw it away, and they really struggle. So for them to go and get that 4th goal, seal the victory, is a huge statement of intent for them maintaining their place at the top end of the table. And to draw a bit of a gap between them and Spurs and them and United is really, really important, particularly when we've got a huge week coming. Yeah. We've got Ajax, Spurs, Ajax within a week. Well, that is going to be incredible for Villa. And that is exactly what Villa fans want from this season. Yeah. You want to be competing at the top end and competing for something serious. And I hope that our squad gets through that. Because again, Torres went off at half time again and no one's said anything since. So I'm a bit worried about that.
Yeah, that's a big concern, isn't it? I mean, we were only talking last week about the influence of Pau Torres on Villa's, not just defensive play, but just going forward as well, because he steps out from the back so well. But Dave, at this point, when they were 3-0 up, I mean, they were coasting, and we said on our WhatsApp group chat, didn't we, they're coasting, this is easy, they're making a mockery of Forest. But when it went back to 3-2 and Forest pegged them back, did you start to wonder, maybe? Or did you feel like this was never in doubt?
I think it could, obviously... in that moment, obviously, when it went to 3-1, and obviously earlier on in the second half when it went to 3-2, I'm sure Myles was probably like, "Oh no, here we go." But
they had Alanga had a chance straight after as well to make it 3-3. I was bricking it.
Gibbs White's goal was fantastic as well. I thought that was a really great finish.
I don't actually think they played that bad, Forest, to be honest. I think in that first half hour, like Myles mentioned, the defending wasn't particularly great. We've obviously given Murillo a lot of praise over the last few weeks, but Bailey absolutely rinsed him for Watkins' first goal. Was absolutely. I don't think we can really slate Murillo too much, but because that was just an amazing bit of play, amazing bit of footwork.
I've got to say, Dave, you can, because he rinses him and nutmegs Felipe at the same thing. So yes, absolute credit to Leon Bailey. But the 2 centre-backs that we were praising last week, neither of them seemed to know how to deal with him, really. Every time he cut inside, Watkins and Bailey caused those two so many problems throughout the game. When they moved Niakata back more centrally, he did a bit better. But honestly, Bailey and Watkins occupied those 2 centre-backs so well, I thought.
That's the dilemma that he creates early on, Bailey. You just don't know which way he's going to take the ball. And the way he just drops that shoulder, and he can just literally take you down the line, like, as we saw.
And do you know what, though? Can I just say that's a massive thing that you can see Emery's instilled into his game this year? Because actually, he was very one-footed and quite predictable. He was always looking to cut inside and shoot before. And this season, he's managed to do that with really clinical effect, but also worked out that he has a strike partner that he can look for. And him and Watkins seem to have developed a really good chemistry. The fact that when Watkins scored that goal, the first thing he wanted to do was just point out, look what Leon Bailey has just done here, I think shows the kind of synergy that Villa have in that attacking lineup now. And it's vital that they hold on to those 2 players, both through the summer and through injuries, to kind of keep up this top 4 charge. But it was fantastic. And I think, actually, is this not very typical of what you've been saying about Forest for the longest time, Dave, that because they play so much on the counter attack and they throw so much forward when they are attacking that really works well against teams a bit further down the league that are a bit nervous and don't know how to deal with that. But when they play top opposition, it probably is likely to be a high scoring game because they have a lot of attacking talent that can punish teams, whether that be Villa or someone else. But it does leave them vulnerable on the counter. I thought they were really vulnerable.
I mean, the reason why I thought this could be a tough game, I think was it earlier on in the season or was it back end of last season when they beat Villa, didn't
earlier
they?
this season.
This season, and I just thought the way that Villa play with that high line, I thought, there's opportunities there for them to get them in behind, and the way that Forest like to attack, and especially since Nuno's come in and how they transition so quickly, I thought, there could be an opportunity for a result. But fair play to Villa. I thought they were so efficient, and especially in that first particular 30 minutes, absolutely blistering.
Well, they've scored 56 goals in the league now in 26 games. That's incredible, isn't it? I mean, that's up there. I think it's probably the fourth best number in the country. So, it stands to reason that they're fourth at the minute. Scoring goals hasn't been a challenge for Villa at all, has it, this season? And it's not all coming from Ollie Watkins, although he is key. Douglas Luiz with a brace here, Myles, as well. Leon Bailey, obviously, is a creator as well as a scorer himself. He's got quite a few. They're great going forward when it all clicks. And this was one of those days, wasn't it, where it felt like their attacking approach really showed what they can do and how good quality their players are when they do go forward, especially from midfield. I think that transition from midfield to attack is one of the best in the league.
Yeah, and actually Luiz's headed goal is a really good example of letting those midfielders roam further forward. Yeah. I think traditionally since Luiz has come to Villa, he was misused for quite a while and used as more of a holding midfielder. And actually, you can see that he is an out-and-out number 8 because he can do so much in the middle of the park. And the more freedom you give him, the more control he'll have over the game. And now he's up to 10 goals for the season, which is huge. And I think looking that McGinn was the one to provide that for him as well, with a real bit of calm, composed technique on the ball. Like he sends the Forest player the wrong way and then goes onto his weaker foot and puts just a delightful cross into exactly the area that he knows someone's going to attack. Yeah. So again, it shows the connection that unit of the team has got. It's a real shame that I think one of the reasons we're conceding goals at the moment is because we've got these departments on the pitch now. We know who our forward players are. We know how they work together. Our midfield is really well constructed. And obviously Kamara coming out of that's not ideal, but Tielemans has slotted in really well. And they've built a really effective unit together. And yet again, we had another defence that you looked at this game, particularly the second half, where you were like, that is not what Villa expect to be playing. It was Cash, Callum Chambers came in, Clement Longley, and Moreno again. And it just seems like they can't quite get that unit to keep themselves fit and be as consistent as the rest. Because if they did, then Villa would be looking at trying to knock more on the door where Liverpool, Arsenal, City are. We're not title competitors right now. I don't think we are. I think 8 points is too far to catch 3 teams of that quality. But I am really proud of the showing that they're putting in still, and the fact that we're now entering March in the top 4 still. That's incredible.